Hello, I'm Trevor Emdon from wizardofwisdom.com. Now here's a question. What do you do when the law of attraction doesn't work? Well, before you can answer that, you have to look back, you have to take a step back and say, well, hang on a minute, what is the law of attraction? Because what you're saying is, I believe in the law of attraction, either it isn't working or I'm not doing it right. Only one of those two possibilities exists. But then you have to say, well, what is the law of attraction? Now, I can't tell you from a quantum physics point of view, because I'm not a quantum physicist, and even quantum physicists don't seem to completely agree. What I can tell you is from personal experience and deduction. Let's be Sherlock Holmes here, right? Because the law of attraction, as we've come to believe in it in our time, seems to me, anyway, to say if I focus on an outcome with enough intensity, enough imagination, enough belief, enough emotional vibration that matches it, it will show up in my life. All my ducks will line up in a row. And after 30 years, give or take, of experimenting with it, I have found that that's the case sometimes. But often, more times than not, it's not the case. And I've yet to meet anyone, and there may be someone out there, so hey, if you can do it, I want to talk to you. But I've yet to meet anyone who can reliably say, every time I do that, it shows up without fail. Now, I can reliably say that every time I tie my shoelaces, they get tied. And generally speaking, they stay tied these days. I know how to tie a shoelace, so it stays on my foot all day long, right? I want the law of attraction to be as reliable as that. I've learned the skill. I know how to do it. It works every time. I don't put my shoes on and think, oh, what if my shoes will fall off today? I can't have that, couldn't live that way. So for the longest time, I thought, it's me. I must be doing it wrong. So study the technique more, delve into myself more. My personal development must be some subconscious beliefs that are in the way. But then I found I hit another big roadblock. And the big roadblock was and is, what are the limits? Because if I can attract whatever I want, well, there's a limit. Supposing that I want to attract, I don't know, I'm going to fly to the other side of the world, and the weather forecasters say there's a tornado going to that area on the day that I'm going to land. Can I attract good weather? No, I don't think so. If the weather forecasters are right, that's not likely to change. Now, I know people have said, and I've read books by people who've said that they've influenced the weather, and maybe they have. Who am I to say? But my belief is that that's probably out of my control. And I look at my personal circumstances, getting older, my own birth. I don't remember or have any inkling at all about having any say over that. And there are things that happened to me in my childhood, like my mother dying when I was still a child, that clearly I had no control over, and neither she nor I nor anyone in the family would have wished that to happen, that I'm aware of. So if I say that I or anyone attracted that, and I have looked at that, believe me, and all it does is make me feel bad. Like, my gosh, it was my fault, right? And that's against the law of attraction. So now I'm coming up against all these roadblocks. So let's backtrack one more step. And let's say, what's the premise that we believe about the law of attraction? And for me, and you can check it out and see if it's the same for you, it's very simple. We create our reality with our thoughts and beliefs. That's simple. Now we have a catalogue of errors. Because, first of all, we have an idea that our thoughts are something that we can do. I can control my thoughts, and that seems to be true. For a long time, I thought that was true. I can control my thinking. I can decide to think about a sunny day. I can decide to think about fluffy kittens. I can. So can you. But I can't decide what I'm going to be thinking a minute from now, or this time tomorrow, or next week, or next month, or next year. I have no idea what's going to pop into my head. And sometimes negative thoughts and fearful thoughts and anxious thoughts will pop into my head just like they will pop into your head. It's part of being human, and there's nothing we can do about that. Retrospectively, yes, we can say, oh, no, I don't want that thought. I'm going to think a positive thought instead. But in advance, you can't. So you're constantly then on vigil. And here's the other thing. What is the reality that you think you're creating? Because I eventually realized it's not the big out there. It's not the stars and the moon and the trees and the cars and the cats and the dogs and the weather and all that stuff. I'm not creating that. Thank goodness. What a responsibility. I wouldn't want to create that in a million years. So if I'm not creating that, then what am I creating? Am I creating just the immediate circumstances of my life? But there are things that happen in my life over which I have no control, like my mother dying of cancer, for example. Nobody had any control over that at the time, in any way, including her, right? So that's outside of my control too. So what is within my control? So what we are actually creating is not our reality in the sense of the three-dimensional knock-on-wood type reality. We are creating our experience. My thoughts and your thoughts create your experience of reality. So two people can watch the same movie. One of them is bored by it. The other one's moved to tears or laughter or whatever by the same movie, because of the way you experience it. Not because the movie made you feel something. You made you feel something. And that's true of everything. Can you control that? No, not in advance. You can't. But you can simply let it go. And when you learn to do that, it's like, that's okay. I'm free of that. When you learn to do that, now you have power. Because you realize you are not your thoughts. And therefore, your experience of reality can be any darn thing at all. Now, I'll talk more about that in forthcoming videos. There should be, by the time this goes to on release on YouTube, there should be a link below this video if you would like to read about this more, or a PDF of the transcript of this video, if that would be helpful. Then click the link and you can go grab that. So I hope that's been helpful so far. We will talk about letting go of fearful thoughts in another video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.